How to lay paving stones on a patio. Difficulty level, 2 hammers. It is the spot where house meets garden, and on fine days, it can be used as an extra room. That's another reason to show it off using paving stones of your choice. You will need paving stones, a roll of non-woven sheet or a draining mat, some sand, cement, and exterior joint mortar. You will need a tape measure, a spirit level, 3 mason's rulers, a spade, a mason's tamper, a cement mixer or mixing tray, an angle grinder with a diamond cutting disc, a mallet, a bucket, a plasterer's trowel, a piping bag, a paintbrush, a sled runner, a brush, and a sponge. You should have safety goggles, protective gloves, rubber gloves, and knee pads. You must follow the applicable technical guidelines to guarantee a good result when you are preparing the bed for your patio. First of all, the ground should slope at least 1 centimeter per meter to ensure good drainage. Then, you have 2 options. Use sand as a bed for paving stones which are thicker than 2.5 centimeters. Or set the stones onto a concrete base. If you already have a patio laid onto a concrete base, use the process again. The level of your patio should be at least 5 centimeters below the threshold of your doors. This is sound advice that you will appreciate when the weather turns nasty. Using sand as a bed. Using sand as a bed, clear the area of soil to a depth of 20 centimeters, ensuring you maintain a 2 centimeter slope to the garden. Completely clear the hardcore to a depth of 10 to 15 centimeters and compact the earth with the tamper. Note that after tamping the area, you will need to replace the hardcore, 3 to 4 centimeters generally. Cover the area with a geotextile drainage mat to stop the embankment mixing with sand. The geotextile material will allow water to drain as necessary. Add a 3 centimeter layer of sand, smoothing it with a rake. Compact it and level it with a ruler. You will lay your paving stones on this solid flat base. If you are setting stones onto a concrete base, you should have laid it at least a month ago. Check that the slope is at least 1 centimeter per meter. Install a drainage filtration layer before you lay the thin layer of mortar. Level it using a mason's ruler, then set the patio stones on top. Create a ditch at the side if possible to drain rainwater. Alternatively, you could drain into an inspection pit. For drainage, the Builder's Code of Practice offers 2 options. The first is to spread a 2 centimeter bed of aggregate, covered by a non-woven synthetic sheet. The second option uses a mat as a filtration layer, made from high-density embossed polyethylene material, covered with a non-woven sheet. The screed is a thin mortar mix of 250 kilograms of cement per cubic meter. A minimum of 3 centimeters thick at the lowest and 7 centimeters at the highest point. Work at right angles to the building in sections 1 meter wide. Place your mason's rulers flat on the areas of mortar to act as guides and shape the layer. And shape the layer without forgetting to maintain the slope. Level the screed with mason's rulers, then remove the guides and fill in the holes. You can also remove the guides later and fill in the holes with mortar. For small surfaces, you can complete laying the screed as long as you put some planks of wood on the surface to prevent footprints. Then you can set the paving stones onto concrete. To set the stones on concrete, work from the edge of the patio so that any cutting is by the side of the house. Pour a layer of slurry and spread it with a trowel. Wet the bottom of the stones 10 to 15 minutes before laying, not at the same time, to ensure the water is fully absorbed. Sprinkle cement onto the screed, then gently lay the wet paving stone. To make it easier to lay the stones, the slope is made by the screed. The layer of slurry is too thin to correct the lie of the paving stones. Tap quickly and gently with the mallet to ensure they stick. One final task to carry out is to clean the surface of the patio stones with a wet sponge immediately. For thicker paving stones and depending on the hardness, mark the cutting lines on both sides. Cut along the line on the top of the stone, then turn it over and cut the other side. Wait 24 hours before mixing up the exterior grouting with a stirrer if you use a piping bag. Otherwise, on a smaller scale, mix using a flat or half-round sled trowel, depending on the required finish, and not a cat-tongue trowel. Fill the bag to 1/3 of its height, and fold the top over to close it. Position the tip at the base of the joint and squeeze to fill the gap. Continue squeezing gently, filling the joint all round, and leave it slightly proud. Don't spill over onto the stones, which would stain them. Let it harden a little, then scrape off any half-set excess with the handle of a paintbrush. The setting time will vary by product and the ambient temperature. Test the surface of the joint before scraping. Use the sled runner to flatten the surface of the joint and finish smoothing with a paintbrush. Leave it to dry a little more before sweeping up the scrapings. Wait 48 hours before making full use of your new patio.